Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello everyone, welcome back again to the NPTEL online certification course on research methodology for planning and architectural studies. Now we are going through different case studies where people used the qualitative research approach. The researchers, they have used it effectively and then finally published their findings in some of the reputed journals. So in our previous lecture we have discussed about some MCDM application and also some comparison across different methods and the findings of some perception based study. On the similar line, today we will be discussing another case study in lecture number 47, qualitative research case study 2. Here also we will try to understand the application, the context, and also most important part of all this case study, the takeaway from this case study, so which you can use in your case if it is applicable. So here is another paper, again it is contextual to the Delhi and also the metro, but here the context is little different. Earlier, like in the previous case study, we have used some sort of examples of park and ride facilities, but here we will be talking about the pedestrian behavior, the walkability. So here the title goes like investigating the attribute influencing pedestrian behavior of commuters for enhancing accessibility of metro station, a case study of Delhi, India. This I keep on saying across different case studies that now in India we do have certain sort of metro system, public transport system, to reduce some sort of transport externalities like high congestion, high pollution, and all such kind of travel time delay on urban roads. As because the metro is operating on a ROWA, means there is a dedicated lane, either it is underground or elevated, they normally can ply comfortably. So there is no such kind of other traffic coming on the way. So for that they are faster, they are in that case environment friendly, they are not emitting that much. So in that way, having metro in a city where you have so much of travel, so much of like trips, they are happening each and every day, is a good initiative. But in most of the cases what we found that metro service is okay, it is punctual, it is regular, but to access the metro, that first mile and last mile connectivity, they are challenging. And this metro station access area planning is some cases is not adequate or not that kind of attractive one by which people can get attracted to these facilities. So as a result, even if we have good extensive metro network, maybe the ridership which can even go higher, they are not happening. So along with Mahima Kanojia and Namia Islam, I co-authored this particular paper which was published in lecture notes in civil engineering, and initially it was presented in a conference and then from conference it converted to a book chapter by the conference authority. Here you get the QR code which you can use to get access to this particular paper to get the details about it. So background of this work, if I just mention that metro rail system has seen rapid growth in metropolitan areas. When metro started in Delhi, okay, one or two stretches, there were so much of questions whether it will be successful or not and all. But Delhi Metro is one of such kind of success story of the metro rail system, that it actually captured the commuters, and then it has a good reach. Now if you see that there are huge number of passengers who are traveling Delhi, and still there are scope of improvement. That's why like we thought of focusing on the access area planning aspect. So there are n number of lines available now in Delhi Metro, and again you may heard all those news that another line is now getting connected to Gurgaon, or maybe this is all connecting to the surroundings of the Delhi for better connectivity. So in this particular case, whenever you have those kind of transit line in a city, this will also affect the land use. Because of the transit network, you may see some sort of development in the real estate, new buildings will come up, new commercial area will be developed. It will definitely improve some accessibility where like periphery of any metro city, probably where there were lack of such kind of connectivity. Now through metro, if they connect with those kind of periphery or urban periphery areas, so then it will have a better connectivity. Then in this case also it can cater with the high urban density as well. But the challenges are, first of all, like to make such kind of extensive network, you need that resources. You should have a proper demand estimation, so that once you invest money for creating that infrastructure, there should be some sort of revenue model, or maybe if not even think of some sort of huge revenue out of the system, at least those system will not run in loss. So proper calculation that how many trips will be generated, okay, what are the stations locations, or maybe where we'll put those kind of station location. So those kind of decisions are very important. Along with that, you also need to think about the metro access area, because this is something where people, they just use it as a first or last mile connectivity. So first mile connectivity is something already have explained earlier, that you have home and maybe you have office. Just for example, this can be school as well. So this is the entire journey that you make. Now if you have metro station, so for your journey you need to use at least 2 metro station, if not more. If you want to change from one line to another, maybe then the number of stations will be more. But to make it very simpler, we have 2 metro station. So when you start your journey and you access the metro station, that is your first mile. From metro station to the office, that is your last mile, right? So this is also referred as a access, this is referred as a egress. Now this is also relative, because evening maybe the journey will be different. So this will be your first, this will be your last, but we take only one direction because it is the same, okay. So one set of data, if you keep access and egress, that can be used very easily. So there are issues with the metro access area in many cases, and for that there are issues like congestion, there are some kind of disorganized development. Many a times you may have a footpath, okay, which can connect your residential area to the metro station, but those are occupied, there are encroachments. So for that people cannot use it very safely, or maybe then again there are issues that people then start working on the road, which can lead to some kind of dangerous situation. So which sometimes even demotivate people not to use metro, rather like use the personal vehicles like two-wheeler or car. Coming to the research gap, so there is a need to assess transportation infrastructure and urban form around metro station to improve walkability and sustainable urban mobility, focusing on attribute influencing commuters' walking behavior. So for last mile connectivity or first mile connectivity, it can be achieved through many. So even in the previous case study, we have mentioned about the first mile connectivity can also be, covered by PNR facilities. It can be also covered by just walking or maybe cycling. So here we are focusing on the walkability, and for that assessment of those areas, like it also depends on the land use where your station is located, whether it is in commercial area or in residential area, you can see a different pattern. So here we have investigated that. Now objective of the study, there are multiple objectives listed here. The first one, to identify the attribute influencing walkability in station access area through a field survey and also through literature. So initially literature survey is very important to list down, but there may be some of the factors which are not very much pertinent to your case study or in your country context, or maybe there are few factors which you find that must be relevant in your context but which are not there in any of the published literature. So in both way we have to also verify that those factors, whether it is relevant or not, we should have some sort of reconnaissance survey as well. The second objective was to assess the existing condition of pedestrian infrastructure and facilities within the study area in terms of user satisfaction. Third objective was to evaluate the performance of pedestrian infrastructure for two selected stations. One is Saket and the other is Vishwavidyalaya metro station of Delhi. To investigate the importance of attribute, that is the fourth objective, in enhancing the overall accessibility of the metro station with similar land use and urban conditions. So this is something, a prototype, that a plan or how we can give suggestions that how to improve the accessibility and especially keeping in walkability in mind. This is the overall methodology. I am not going to go into the detail of that. Main idea to present this slide to you is that in many publication, the reviewer, they prefer to have a flow chart. In many cases you can also go with the running text, but this flow chart will make some sort of clarity that how you come to the conclusion, where you have to identify the problem through the existing literature, the you can say that current situation of that location. Then you have to establish the need of the study, and then you formulate the aim and objective. After that, through observation study, you just try to understand how people they face difficulty, so personal working experience. You also assess the existing infrastructure, then different space used by roadside activities like a hawking, food stall, some of the other fruit stall, etc. Now from literature review also we get all those kind of factors. Then you design the questionnaire where the shortlisted factors were included, and then finally you can go for this kind of on-site data collection, primary data collection. Then you go for data analysis part, and for that definitely you have to have a database. You have to remove all these erroneous data, missing data, and you get a complete database where you can analyze it. So then you go for this analysis. In this particular case study we have used another such kind of useful tool which is referred as a IPA, importance performance analysis. Also sometimes use it as a ISA, importance satisfaction analysis, where satisfaction is measured as a performance. Then the findings and then the conclusion. Now in this survey design, in the questionnaire we have multiple sections. So one is definitely the demographic information, gender, age, income, etc. Then some sort of information with their like preferred mode of travel for the first and last mile connectivity. Then we also discussed in detail in our internal review when we formulate this particular question. So we go for detailed travel behavior patterns, the frequency, and purpose of the trip, etc. Then we ask about the commuter satisfaction towards the selected attribute, and then also the importance of different attribute, and finally we use the IPA or ISA to come up with the parity. So, specific challenges identified by people or the respondent were also included as extra, because this is something you also need to remember when you go for a close ended questionnaire. Okay, you always give some multiple choice for each questions, but there might be some factors that you missed out, or maybe people may have something to say more than what you captured, what you ask more than that. So for that, in this study we also kept one particular question open, that if they have something to say on the walkability or the pedestrian environment in the station area. So we got certain key idea, and then also we tried some sort of word cloud to come up with that common problems that people they faced in those kind of study area. So the primary data collected from Saked and Vishwavidyalaya, altogether 340 commuters were interviewed, and this is the phase, definitely it's little challenging because it's the second phase of the COVID and all, but in spite of that, like we could able to manage the respondent, and 340 commuters were like finally we could able to use for our analysis. This data was collected in February 2022. Use of 5-point Likert type scale was used, again an ordinal scale, that most important, highly satisfied, neutral, not satisfied, etc. Survey questionnaire was made both in English and Hindi, because in some cases that people they don't have much understanding on English questionnaire, they can switch to the Hindi as well. And it is a mix of online and physical survey, so that we could get the information very easily, and online was adopted keeping in mind about the COVID scenario. So I'll come to the perception data, but before that, this is something like again an application of observation type data, where you can see the common issues, that where you can easily identify that even if the footpath was available in this particular Vishwavidyalaya station area, but it is not very clean, but along with that the problem, the stray animals causing some kind of public health concern, manhole obstructing the travel, so you can see that it is not at the same level. Then we have some sort of transformer and other barrier along the footpath, so people then were forced to use the road instead. Then street vendor, they have occupied this particular footpath, and then also the issues with that other obstruction, trees, sometimes it is a natural obstruction like a tree or something like that, many a times it is man made, and you can see here that there is no issue with the width of the footpath. It's the width is quite big, but only thing that informal establishment they are encroaching the pathway. Again in this case you can see there are certain kind of discontinuity happening. There are certain structures, some toilets or some other elements that you find. Some of the parked vehicle on that footpath is another challenge. Then you have those kind of encroachment, like people they extend their space, they use the public place as their own. So all such kind of issues are very pertinent, and again you can see that those kind of available sidewalk is not in good condition that people can use it. Now in this case method used with its reason, so ISA, which is also stand for importance satisfaction analysis or importance performance analysis. So quickly I just try to demonstrate what exactly it is. So it is basically a two-dimensional plot where you have importance and you have satisfaction in x and y axis respectively. Then whatever the importance data that we receive towards each attribute, we try to get a mean of that. So say for example, we have here about 300 340 like respondents. So each of them, they have given one value from 1 to 5 to each of the factors or attribute considered in the study. So somebody may give 2, somebody may give 4, etc. But finally, if you just try to see the overall thing, so you get a mean value for each of them. So similarly, when you have a mean value of importance and mean value of satisfaction, so you get a x value and y value. Then you go for scatter plot. So you will find that, okay, so this is 0, this is 5, this is 0, this is 5. So for any particular factor, the mean value is, say for example, the mean importance is 3.25 and mean satisfaction is 1.75. So you are getting a xy coordinate and you put it in this scale. So 3 point, apparently if you take, this is just a line at the mid value, so this will be something here and the y is something like there. So you get this particular attribute here. Like that you can plot all of them. Next case is that to get this kind of comparative axis, we use mean satisfaction and mean importance. So what exactly it is? Say for each attribute you get a mean importance value, mean satisfaction value. Now if you have say 20 or 30 factors, so you will essentially have that kind of 20 or 30 mean score. So you take mean of those mean score, so then you will get this particular line. Okay, so this line will give you that particular value. So this value will be your mean of mean importance and this will be mean of mean satisfaction, right? So you please go through this paper, those things are written stepwise, you can follow, and here I am just giving you the overall view of this particular approach. Now whenever you get this kind of axis which is actually dividing all scatter plot into 4 quadrants. Now what are the quadrants that you have? So in this case, this is the quadrant where you have the value low importance, low satisfaction. Above this is high satisfaction, but still it is low importance. If you go towards this, so this is basically high importance but low satisfaction, and if you take this axis where you have both high importance and high satisfaction. Now let us understand the meaning of this, then things will be clear to you. Say for example, high importance, low satisfaction. So you find one attribute is very important, but the current facility is so poor that you are not satisfied. So which will definitely make you unhappy, make the user unhappy, and that may also lead to some sort of disassociation. The people will not really use it after some time when things are going in that direction. So high importance and low satisfaction are those attributes which should have the highest priority. So this is also referred as a focus here. Now low importance, low satisfaction, where you have very low importance and satisfaction is also low. So in that case you can go for this as a low priority, that you can think little later. Low importance and high satisfaction, that you don't have importance, you probably just need some sort of lighting, but now you have so much of decorative lighting and etc. You are so much satisfied, but that is not that important. So this quadrant is called at possible overkill. Now high importance and high satisfaction, where you have high importance, you are also satisfied, so you have to maintain it. So this quadrant is keep up good work. So these are actually different quadrant that are used. So in this case, efficiency in identifying priorities, areas of improvement can be done through this particular quadrant where high importance and low satisfaction are like achieved. Ability to visualize attribute in importance satisfaction scale, suitability for like urban transport studies, comparative analysis and compatibility with the other study, that is something that we have compared, and also the previous successful application of ISS in similar study, those are something where we compared with our findings. So, this is another important message that I would like to convey, that you may get certain findings, maybe for other city some other researcher they also done some sort of analysis and they got some kind of findings. So, you have to compare. Some cases if it is similar in nature, you expect that the findings will also have some synergy. Sometimes you may have a contrast as well, that suppose you want to compare it with a metro city and a small town, you compare it with India, like some case study, and you compare it with something in UK, so you can see the variation as well, and then you also justify. So, comparing with other past study, they are also equally important. Now, coming to the findings and representation of the data. So, in this case we have used the pie chart. In earlier case I have shown you the representation as a tabular form. So, here you can see the male female, the overall the segments or the attribute they are pretty same, but in this case you can see that it is represented with a pie chart, and these are few findings, like the majority of the respondent are male commuters, they travel more compared to female. Occupation, in this case we have found most of government and private sector, and then majority of the commuters belong to the 18 to 35 age group. Education, definitely that is another factor, you may use, you may not use. So, in this case we have used it as some sort of indicator. Now, coming to the travel characteristics, trip frequency. So, here you can say that all weekdays, so Monday to Friday 5 days, that is the maximum share, about 54%, followed by all 7 days 26, and there are occasional trip makers. Trip purpose also mostly on the work trip, followed by the educational trip, and then you may have other trip as well, which is very common, even in any city you will find the same range. In this case, like if we go to this particular presentation of this pie chart, this is for the trip duration. So, in this case definitely you find that trip duration is 30 to 45 minutes and then 45 minutes to 1 hour. So, that is something that they are making the trip. Vehicle ownership that we try to capture in this particular bar chart, where in this case you have no vehicle. So, which is something like in this case you do not have any cycle. So, 67 respondent they have mentioned about that. Here you can see that some of the people they mentioned they have only two wheeler, one two wheeler and one four wheeler. This is the case. Somebody like also respondent they have multiple, and even some family they have more than two. So, the question was asked that how many vehicles you have in your family, it is not like how many you have. So, that is why we have different sort of results in this case. Now, coming to the findings and representation data of the overall, you can say that the satisfaction. So, all the factors they are grouped into infrastructure, built environment, comfortable environment, safety and security, and public amenities, and you can see that their mean importance and satisfaction, how they are different, and this is another very useful chart. This is also referred as a radar or spider graph. So, by which you can compare that there is some sort of difference between your satisfaction and mean. So, here if you see that importance infrastructure is high compared to the satisfaction, so that is a gap, but somewhere like in the built environment overall, like there is some kind of better representation in terms of satisfaction. Now coming to the most important findings of this study, where again you can see that these are the factors that we considered for walkability in the access area of metro station, that footpath, the wide footpath, continuity of footpath, good surface quality, universal design, street furniture, toilet facility, food and beverage shops, encroachment free footpath, footpath free from stray animals. So what we observed in our observation survey, I have shown you through the photographs. We try to put it that okay, to me probably stray animal is a factor, okay, maybe for the people they may not think that is that important. So we kept actually included all of them here. Proximity to the nearest metro station, adequate street lighting especially for the night condition, wayfinding and signages, then crossing facility, then slow speed of motorized vehicle, wherever like you don't have footpath, so you also depend or you also think on how the other vehicles they will react. Then you have street surveillance, shaded pathway, cleanliness, good air quality, again the less noise, good ambience, overall you have a feel of security, building frontage and aesthetics, building height, building setback, these all relate to some sort of sense of security. Now these are the different codes, and again we have gathered the importance data and satisfaction data in 1 to 5 scale, and then we got the mean importance and satisfaction for all these factors, and then we essentially got the xy values for all of them, and then we also put this axis like you know mean of mean satisfaction and mean of mean importance value, and then here you can see that importance in this y axis and this is in satisfaction. It is what I have presented that case. If you just try to correlate, that was importance in x axis and satisfaction in this. So that's why the quadrant meaning definitely will be different here. So again if you see that this is the zone where you have high importance and this is towards low satisfaction, so this is the concentrate here zone, quadrant A, and similarly you have this zone where you have some sort of high satisfaction and high importance. This is your high importance and low satisfaction. In this case you have low importance and low satisfaction, and then you have low importance and high satisfaction. So low priority area also we have certain kind of you can say that if you are, which is nothing but the street furniture, which people they don't have that much of importance and to some extent they are okay with, but a good number of factors like air quality, cleanliness, then you have the width of footpath, okay, then the ambience, the noise, so all those factors are really something people they want certain sort of improvement because they have showcased higher importance, because if you see their average values they are above 3, and here you can see that mostly it is like some values that you get in this importance about 4 or something out of 5, but compared to that it is all 2 point, and even the air quality is something really I think I should not say more on that. We all know the city, all the metro cities, even in the Delhi, they are having the issues with the air quality. Now the next thing is that out of this, okay, so these are the area where improvement are required. Some of them are like managerial improvement, some of them are like effectively like change in policy. So based on that, finally like we have made certain recommendation for this, and based on detailed analysis what we found, the Vishwavidyalaya station area performs way better than circuit station area in all aspects due to well laid out road infrastructure. So people are still getting some sort of better ambience. Eliminating barriers like irregular manholes, cover, broken paving, electric substation can improve the walkability, and even if we have seen in those photographs that even if there are adequate width, but because of those kind of obstructions, people they face difficulty. So in this case also it is essential to carry out holistic planning at the design stage itself, such as planning of bulb outs, green buffer areas to reduce some sort of noise and dust pollution, then drainage system, crossing facility, subway intersection and foot over bridges which can ensure the safety in terms of crossing. Coming to the takeaway from this case study, so this case study definitely enables planners and policymakers to learn about these issues and the focus area for fast mile connectivity and walking, which can be like really a good mode of transport within say 500 to 600 meter from the station area, because that is a comfortable and preferable walking distance if you provide the adequate facility. Incorporating commuters feedback in improvement, because we may as a designer, as a policymaker or developer, we can come up with certain solutions, but when we give emphasis on which to be improved, that's why I have mentioned that rather than just putting a street furniture, you should first focus on the available width and then you make sure that they are obstruction free. To propose detailed physical design enhancement measure for the selected station. So this is something like which is required to make such kind of local area, station area plan, where you can have a proper network, proper right of way, and where you can distribute the different functions, that okay, this can be the sidewalk, this can be the bicycle corridor, etc. And this can also be used for other metro station with similar urban condition, because this is only demonstrated with the case of Delhi, but now other cities they are also using, like Bombay, Hyderabad, Kolkata, they are using metro effectively. So for those access area, this can also be adopted. Use of importance satisfaction method for prioritization, because this is very useful, where you just consider both importance and satisfaction. So importance will give that what people want, and then satisfaction also give you something that what they are getting. So if you have some sort of desire and if you are getting that, there is no issue, continue it. But if there is so much of desire and then you are getting or not getting anything, or you are getting minimal, and there is a huge gap between your importance and satisfaction, that what you desire and what you get, so then people will be dissatisfied, and those areas we need to improve. So those are the priority areas. So high importance and low satisfaction in the ISA graph, that is the focus area for any developer to come up with the solution. Hope this actually helped you to understand the overall context, the objective, different representation and the use of a very effective tool of ISA. So this is end of this lecture, where we again discussed about another qualitative approach where perception data were taken and then some of the recommendations are made based on this importance satisfaction analysis. Again, in this case we have slightly used some other method like observation survey to validate that okay, why those satisfactions came into the survey. If they gave very low satisfaction to a certain attribute, so that essentially means that things are not present, or whatever is available they are not of that quality, right. So we end here. We'll come with our next case study and we'll again discuss another paper where the researchers they have used the qualitative research approach to make their study, and they also published in some good journals. So with that I end this particular lecture here, and we'll be meeting very soon with lecture number 48. Till then, thank you, bye bye.